It's movie time. It's produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Wayne Miller.
And this is Movie Time.
It is.
Now listen, when we're recording today, it's around 0.
Yes, it is. And you can just imagine how those poor guys felt on the Western Front or even the Eastern Front back 100 years ago. That's what's really amazing that we just celebrated last year the centennial of Armistice.
Yes.
World War I, the Great War.
And I'm amazed at our friendship over the years that all I needed to say was how cold it was, and you knew exactly the segue into the no prompting you, right smooth and right in.
Right in there, right into the trenches.
The film is They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yes.
Peter Jackson.
Wow, what a documentary. And that's what I liked about the movie is the whole timing of it. It starts out as they're talking about the war and when they enlisted and the young men and how kind of excited they were going off to the trenches.
How ironic.
And then, you know, what surprised me though, it really, even the one battle that they really honed in on, they did not really, it wasn't a history lesson. They did not throw a lot of
there's absolutely
geography or dates.
Nothing historical said.
Yes. So in a way, though, you didn't get a really true sense of the 4 years, those who lucky enough to survive.
Yes.
You know, the 4 years in the trenches on the Western Front and they basically, followed British soldiers around.
Yeah, well, I think
archival footage.
You're suggesting something that I found particularly strong is that lack of the historical context, but rather to give you a sense of what it must have been like to be happy-go-lucky young man, maybe even 14 or 15 years old, going to war, jaunty, and then the war to end all wars is beyond belief.
Yes.
Brutal.
Yes, and some of the, and even what they faced when they came home, which sounds a lot like, our own troops coming back from Vietnam.
You bet.
And people not really caring and not really wanting to hear about the horror stories they had to tell. But what was interesting, of course, there was no, really the only narration were actual taped interviews, probably about 40, 50 years ago.
Scores of it. What a wonderful way to do it.
Yes.
No sonorous announcer telling you that you got the guys who 20, 30 years after.
Now the Battle of the Somme in 1915 and blah, blah,
Yes.
Millions died, all this other stuff. But the words of the veterans themselves.
Yes.
Talking about not only the horrors of it, but what was really telling one of the guys saying, well, outside of all the death and the mud and the rats and everything else, we kind of had a good time. I was with my mates. We had a lot of fun.
It is true. There is the human spirit, indomitable, even in that most abysmal way of going to war. And you have close-up shots of fat rats.
Oh, gee.
And lice.
Rats, oh, my God. The lice and the rats and the mud.
It's just awful.
And one of the reviews I was reading about it was, talking about, here are these young men, probably just like you and I, out there, just having a good old, laughing or whatever, and then all of a sudden cut into a close-up of a dead body.
Yeah.
That half the head
hanging out there for probably days.
Yes. Yes.
Just turning to liquid.
Yes.
Now, all right, talk to me. One of my reservations about the film is one that I always have, and again, we've been buddies for so long, you know exactly where I'm going. Colorization and 3D. Talk to me, because I know you're positive about it.
I was surprised about the 3D. I knew it was going to be colorized, and I knew that Jackson had spent 5 years with technicians of his down in New Zealand restoring the film, trying to take out a lot of the stuff, and also projecting it at the speed that it should have been. because silent
Sure.
films that were usually, and even I bet the ones that were standardized were 16 frames per second.
18, no?
Yeah,
18,
yeah.
18 frames.
And now it's it's been 24 for
Right.
Decades.
So he adjusts.
He adjusts it, and of course a lot of this stuff was hand
Yeah.
cranked, so probably very meticulous work in projecting it like how it should be. The colorization did not bother me, because one of the things I really was intrigued about too, he hired forensic lip readers.
Yes.
And there's sometimes that the only kind of like non uh, 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 the veterans, the only non-type of spoken dialogue were these lip readers who kind of read what somebody's lips were reading. That, I think, added a lot.
And
to
that
me.
was unobtrusive, you bet.
But and the 3D, at first I thought, wow, this is going to be kind of exciting. Now, and we had talked about this with several others after the screening. Is it because of the technology that in the projection there where we saw it,
Yeah.
the gateway,
Yeah.
that maybe it was a little off, like Kevin was saying, that some things he's gone
I
through,
don't know.
and it was kind
Sometimes Kevin just blusters about that stuff.
of, hopefully
get us
he'll,
all
hopefully
all
he'll see this.
upset.
I brought the little soldiers for him.
But I know, and he felt it might have been, but I just felt that when you see it, when you see the 3D and you know it, it's then, to me, it's distracting. That's all. And I'm distracted just as film. I know it. They didn't film it in 3D, so I know they've been mucking around and making it look like 3D.
Yeah.
And I got all this going in my head. I said, please don't. Just give me the restored versions, which are beautiful. That clean prints are just.
Well, and that's the trouble with a lot of 3D is sometimes how murky it can get. Give me really, like yourself, a crisp, clear 2D presentation, and without something that's going to be distracting. Now, there were parts of it that I was amused by it, by the use of the 3D. But it's not something that I would say, don't go see, because I really hated it. I thought the presentation, the whole running, how it was, the war to these young guys, how it was presented from the beginning to even at the afterwards when they got home.
Yeah,
and that's what I liked.
The filmmakers are touting their 3D and their colorization, and I think you are absolutely right. There's no reason to go to this movie if you're going to be treated to that. If you're looking forward to see, because it's not a major part of this.
No.
It's that voiceover from all those guys from the 50s and 60s who were there.
Yes.
It is the restored, because after BBC and the Imperial War Museum have had these for a long time.
Yes.
Right. So
yeah.
many of these images are not new, except the way that Jackson has treated them.
Right, and I'm a big fan of PBS and watching WSU at 34, because they have a lot of historical type of things, and that, and of course, I've always liked the archival footage anyhow of anything.
Right.
The historian in me, and
Right.
it's kind of like, this is what is taking place. It's not staged, and no matter how decrepit. In fact, sometimes I kind of like stuff that's rather decrepit.
I like little spots here and there.
Yeah,
I like a cut in the print.
It adds a verisimilitude
It does.
to
It does.
Yeah.
Wayne Miller, the film is "They Shall Not Grow Old."
Yes.
What grade would you award it?
I would give it an A-. I enjoyed it. I really learned a lot. I liked it.
And I am awarding it an A- for reasons that I have already given.
Yep.
But boy, on these cold winter days,
Yes.
you're not necessarily going to be relieved of the cold, but you are going to be transported back to a time when most everybody just wanted to ignore it.
And I would tell people, stay through the credits, because you see all the names of all these people that they have interviewed, but also you get to sing along, Hinky Dinky Parley
Parley-boo.